Yeah, there's always like these weird pieces of advice that float around. Like I hear people say, like in regards to, for instance, dating coworkers, people say like, "Don't shit where you work" or whatever. And I don't know who actually, I don't know who makes that advice that actually works because like it just happens. Like your coworkers will almost always like become your friends or become your like dating partners, just because like by virtue of spending that much time around someone, it's just like high school again. Like you're bound to form relationships with these people. You almost have to. And for the people that don't, it's this is I'm going so anecdotal here. I would be interested if there's like
Oh,
pointed on this. But the people that don't make friends or lovers at their workplace, the people that don't do that because they don't want to quote unquote shit where they work, I don't know people that avoid that, but then have other relationships outside of work. I don't think I've ever met a person like that. I have met a few people that don't like to form relationships, whether it's friendships or romantic ones at work. I've met those people before, but all of them just seem really lonely. I don't meet people like that who also have a ton of relationships outside of work.
that's a fair point. Um, I even go as far as say, yeah, those who would do that, are they doing like blind dates? Is that seems like such like a dated, antiquated concept at this point? I would say, like, who's really going to go out for a zero overlap, ice cold blind date at this point by comparison, without some kind of like pre-existing context to like meet the person?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, it's like super
But then it
anecdotal in
might be
this
on some
context
ends.
there.
This is like high conjecture area now. Okay, so okay, like it might even be though that like the ability to filter out like who we meet and everything first, that might actually be detrimental to us. Like if I could go through on like an app and I could choose like certain people that I never want to meet, like maybe I might pick something like Trump supporter, or maybe I'll pick something
Ooh,
like somebody who likes reality TV. And by doing this, I might actually be filtering out a ton of people that had I been forced to socialize with them, I might have clicked with them really well anyway, right? Like there are a lot of friends that you meet that like I'm sure even in high school you'll
or
probably look
change your
back on some
perspective.
friends. Yeah, well, maybe, yeah, but not even necessarily perspective. There might be friends that you had back in high school that you look back on and it's like, man, like I bet like politically or ethically or even in terms of interests, we probably didn't share as much as I would normally demand if I was meeting like a stranger, you know?
That's very true, and that's something I've considered in the inevitability of the future. Once we have like augmented reality, and I'm sort of derailing a little bit right now, but like in the hypothetical future here, let's say 10 years from now, we have like Google Glasses, and there's like every competitor's gonna make their own take on the Google Glasses, and you'll be able
Mm-hmm.
to like integrate social media into it, so you can literally you can give yourself tags. You can say Destiny, whatever,
Yeah.
atheist, high IQ, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the fuck, right? And you can, like you said, I can just take my tags and like filter out the people I don't want to talk to or want to see. So
Mm-hmm.
like in a dream scenario, you have your cafeteria tray. You walk into the cafeteria on your first day of like, I don't know, community college or whatever, right? You have your Google AR glasses on, and you can just see who is in what tags, and you can determine what table you want to sit at based off of that. You have
Mm-hmm.
a pre-filter game essentially, and I
Yeah,
wonder
there's like
how crazy that would be
that's
actually.
too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that is very frustrating to me because I'm like a big like I don't know if I would say like I'm a big data guy, but like I want to feel like every part of the human condition can be like quantified and analyzed. That there's things like love and all these emotions can eventually be boiled down to some to some type of like a molecule or whatever, and can be like quantitatively measured instead of qualitatively assessed. Um, Even despite me feeling that, like there is still like undeniably some aspect of meeting people in real life that I can't find a way to make this like reduced to paper. This even happened relatively recently to me, where like there are people that I know about like online, and I've even spoken to these people, even on voice before I've spoken to these people, and I just like for a variety of reasons, like I don't think I would ever be a friend with this person. I just don't, not at all. But then once you meet them in real life, there's some qualitative aspect to that it's like, wow, actually I feel like I have a lot of chemistry with you. I don't know why, just I get that feeling. And like I would definitely hang out with this person or be friends with this person. And given like an infinite set of online filters to decide who I want to hang out with, I would never see a person like that anyway, which is probably done at a harm to me, even though I feel like I'm selecting for myself, personally. It still seems like, and I say this a lot, like I think there is something about real life interactions that I, I'm not going to say it's impossible to capture online, but it just hasn't been captured in online interactions yet. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I mean, have you taken a communications course before?
No.
So there's and it's totally fine. There's like
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot actually. It was a major eye opener for me. It was an elective I took in my freshman year of community college, like in 2008, and
Mm-hmm.
that course it has a lot of common sense things that you can obviously read about and Google about now. But just being in the course got me woke to the fact that we communicate around everyone voluntarily or not whenever you're in your same physical presence. essentially, I forget the exact stat here, but what 7% of what you actually say is what you intend to communicate, and more of it's based off of like your tone, speed of delivery, and all the other bodily communication realms that you're going to use to like convey how you feel. So
Sure.
so that's why when you use purely text, you have to like use
Yeah, it's not
tone,
the same.
yeah, tone modifiers, etc. Right. Well, the point is, yeah, well, your brain's taking in like just hypothetically here 93% more information when you're communicating with someone IRL than even when we lose a lot of that when you do it on a digital now.
Well, what's even worse than that is it's not like that information is missing when you're doing it online. You're actually probably filling in a lot of it yourself. So you're making a lot of assumptions without even realizing it when you talk to someone online about how they are or the types of gestures they may be making or the tone they have, which can be even more damaging. And I'm sure I don't know if here's this is something I'd suggest, which hurts for a lot of people, but sometimes it's really good if you have relationships and you have a problem. Sometimes it's really good to actually talk about these, even if it's just over voice rather than doing it in text, because especially when someone is in a bad mood, they can read into a whole lot of what you say in a really negative way that you didn't intend it. All of a sudden, harmless comments become super passive aggressive, or random statements can become inflammatory or offensive, and you don't, and it's just because you're in a bad mood and that's how you're interpreting everything. Actual voice communication can
You're
help with a lot of that.
Sorry, you're completely correct. And I already did that subconsciously already. I already would opt to never engage in heated discussion over text because I feel like misinterpretations can be lost really easily. And I always would opt to do things in person if it was something really big or whatever. That's some very, very good advice. I think that anyone who's currently in a relationship right now, whether it be romantically or whatever, should always opt for that, because communication can't be undone. That was one of the big laws that stuck with me there. You can't uncommunicate things. You can try to remedy and change the perception of things after the fact, but it can't be undone.